Nah, is he gone already? Wow, he didn't even last a second.
We can,
That's what she.
I
That's what
can,
she said.
I can see.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Younes warned us. He was like, "Yo, that could happen," and then it just before the intros even finished playing, bang!
It might happen again. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't know what's going on. Much like our season, this is let's just end the stream, Dave.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Funnily enough, Dave just texted me to ask me if he could use part of my reaction for the watch along and my review for Bant's Oozing Sport or Sport Oozing Bant's, and yeah, crack on. Big up everybody in the chat. Yeah, before we get into it, Younes, how are you?
Like we said just before we came live, innit? We're in Mourning. We watched your lovely speech at the funeral last night, Matisse. That was very moving. So, thank you very much for that. It was difficult for many people to step up and make that speech. So I'm glad someone had to. You did very, very eloquently. So well done. And we mourn for the next 3 days.
Really?
TV stops, YouTube stops, everything stops, mourn this death. Because right now it's what it feels like.
Yeah. And I mean, luckily, Miz, we don't play until next Wednesday against Brentford, and no one will be watching us because the biggest game of the season is on, Manchester City versus Arsenal. So how are you? How are you feeling, brother?
Yeah, I don't know about being lucky. I wish we just didn't play at all anymore till the end of the season and just play next season. Let's start from next one. Yeah, look, I guess reality has kicked in, but I think Younes's video summed it up very well post-match, where he said, I think we're going to now start seeing a lot of people talk. A lot of things will be coming out, a lot of articles, a lot of players, and I think we've already started to see with Thiago Silva coming out and saying it how it is. Because now it's over. Now there's nothing else to play for. Of course, we've got the season remaining, but I don't know whether players are going to be bothered to get up for that. So get ready. It's probably going to get really bad. It's probably going to get really toxic.
Just to add on to that point very quickly, have you guys seen the ticket exchange for the Brentford game?
I didn't understand that. Can you explain to me? Because obviously I
haven't. But I can only imagine how bad it is.
Matisse will know. So basically, the ticket exchange is where everyone who currently has a ticket, even membership, season ticket, whatever, if they want to give up their ticket for a game, they can put it back onto the exchange so it gets put back on sale by the club to whoever wants it. The amount of tickets that have been put on the exchange for Brentford is basically half the stadium.
They don't want to go.
No one wants to go.
The season's done. Baba, they brought their flares. They brought their, I don't even know what it was like pre-match kickoff. If anybody saw any images floating around on Twitter, I don't know. Apparently, it was meant to be a big gathering, and everybody was meant to be, kumbaya. But the performance in the end was what it was. How are you feeling, bro?
I mean, the fans, the atmosphere can take you this far, right? I was there for the Dortmund game. I was there outside the stadium before that game. The atmosphere was unbelievable. I was talking to some of the people there. They said that they haven't seen such an atmosphere in last 2-3 seasons for a game. So people were really amped up. But there's a limit to what fans and people around the stadium can do, right? The ultimate job is to be done by the players on the field. And to be honest, we didn't expect anything. First 45 minutes again gave us a false sense of belief that something could happen in the game. But yeah, we are miles off where we are supposed to be. And piece by piece, the club is falling apart. And I don't know what different I can say this time, which I didn't say last time, to be honest.
Do you know what? I don't know if it's just me, but when I was watching that game, I didn't gain any more confidence at any moment. I didn't gain any more belief at any moment, regardless of how we started the game, because the lineup was so negative and the setup was so negative in terms of the player profile on the pitch. I just knew we weren't going to score. And some people will say, actually, he got it right because we played well and we counter-pressed them into some mistakes and we had some chances.
He coached to win, Matisse. He coached to win.
They'll say that he coached to win.
That's what people are saying.
Yeah, well, people are going to say that. But when your system that you set up and when the formation that you put out and when the players that you put out and the chances fall to Cucurella and the chances fall to Kante twice and the chances fall to these players, of course we're not going to score. Kante had 2 massive opportunities. He was never going to score them really, unless it's once in a blue moon. Same goes for Cucurella at the back post. Of course he's not going to score. He takes a touch, takes his time, doesn't score. We bring the police on in Mudryk, Felix. These are the police. They've come on after the person's already dead. Funeral was held yesterday on my channel, right? We're 2-0 down. Rodrigo scores. Funeral's taking place. I'm laying down flowers. I'm getting the black suit out. You know what I mean? Not the red panties, the black suit. And now you want to call the police. Now you want to bring on...
investigate
now
the
you
murder.
want to... Yeah. They're here to investigate, right? Now you want to bring on Felix and you want to bring on Mudryk and you want to bring on all of these guys. We're already dead. It's 2-0.
The only thing Lampard forgot to bring on was the forensics.
So people could say that we played what, but how many times are we as fans going to sit there and see that we played okay and we could have scored and we could have done this? We know what's going to really happen, and I knew what was going to happen, and what happened transpired. Exactly what transpired is we couldn't score. They were playing in first. They weren't even playing in second gear. Real Madrid. They were playing in first gear. They didn't even try it, and they beat us 2-0. They went up the other end of the pitch. They hit the bar. They had 2 other tap-ins, walked it in. Trevor's on his ass. Cucurella's pressing the centre backs for some reason. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Why?
What? Like Younes, what the hell was that second goal, bro? Seriously, what was that?
I have nothing to say.
nothing to say.
Nothing to say,
Bro. I don't even know. You know what's matter? Even after the game, I tried to watch. Finally, if the BT crew didn't really do much in terms of analysis, which baffled me. It just looked like they tried to justify the entire night. The CBS lot with Thierry Henry, Carragher, Michael Richards, they actually went into detail and very, very, fairly. And none of them could come up with an explanation. They were like, Cucurella, what is he doing? Just what is he doing? Thierry was a striker. He's saying, what is he doing? Michael Richards, Carragher, defenders going, I don't know what his business was in that position. Doesn't make sense. No one knows. No one knows. The guy had the brain of his own. I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm not entirely surprised that we see these sort of errors, especially when it comes to positioning, where players are placed on the pitch, what avenues they run into. Not expecting that to be corrected by Lampard, let's be honest. Yesterday, look, was the one thing that I credited Lampard for to an extent was the initial setup, even though the profile of player was wrong. But the initial setup at the beginning was fine. Later on, though, he was outmanaged because he just stuck to it, done nothing with it, brought on players later on, changed everything, game's already dead. Ancelotti made one substitution after voluntarily keeping Real Madrid to sit back and just defend and play on the counter, which is not what I was expecting because we're low in confidence. So I thought they'd come at us and kill us after 10 minutes, which they could have done. But Benzema just looked a little bit absent up there. Hence, Real Madrid were, sitting a little low. They took off Benzema, put on Tchouameni, added one more man to the midfield, and then dominated from there. Lampard didn't have any response to that.
Yeah.
So, I can't say we're surprised. Overall, Cucurella and those sort of players are going to make mistakes like that. We kind of know that, and we was expecting that. There wasn't going to be a correction.
Like, Miz, we rang each other when the lineups went out, and I was devastated. You had to console me while I burst out in tears, right? I was basically traumatized from what I was having to type out on the graphic. I think if attackers had missed chances and he'd set the team up for attackers to be in positions that they should score in and that they should be used to in and that they train to be in, then I would have said, you know what, got it absolutely spot on. We created chances for players that should take chances, and therefore you put them in positions where they should score. But like I said, it was Kante, it was Cucurella, it was, Gallagher. I felt sorry for Kai Havertz, to be honest, and I very rarely ever say that ever. You know what I mean? But the man, all he could do was just, use up his sugar rush from the Skittles and just keep plowing away because there was nobody to help him out. There was nobody there, Miz.
I said the same thing during my stream as well, that had the chances been 2 chances for Havertz and he missed, 1 chance for Conor Gallagher and he missed, we can safely sit here and say, do you know what? Frank tried, and once again the attackers let him go. It wasn't the case. Kante in that position, I mean, we know he's not a prolific scorer. Like, this isn't, and the amount of time Kante found himself in the final third, whether it's inverted wing position, whether it was in the wing position, whether it was in the box, and I've said it many times that he keeps finding himself in the KDB position. He's always where KDB would be lurking around, and Kante is not KDB. A few people be saying in my live stream that, see, this is why I wanted Kante to be the CDM. I'm like, dude, you need to understand. You can play him as a CDM. He ain't disciplined to stay there. He likes to just buzz. He likes to win the ball and run. And this is why I understood, obviously, Kante in the first leg, us staying deep and playing on a counter-attack, trying to win the ball. But who's our player of the year?
There is no player of the year, please.
It's cancelled.
We can maybe say flop of the year. But
even if they have this ceremony, are absolutely shameless.
Yeah.
This player of the year's award.
Whoever gets stuff.
No, genuinely, this is the type of season when you cancel the award show. I'm not even joking.
You have to.
For real.
You have to cancel it. There is no player of the year. Do it for the youth team. Do it for the women's. There is no Chelsea men's team player of the year.
Yeah.
You
have to cancel that.
Simple as that. You don't run the awards this year. So,
but yeah, I mean, in this second leg, when you're trying to take the game to the opposition, I mean, fine, you want to use Kante, that's okay. But for example, Conor Gallagher, like, we could have used a different profile. Did we really need to go with 3 at the back? Anyway, we were never expected to win. I just want to say to all the people that were saying that, at least for the first 60 minutes, Frank had coached a win. I just want to say, look, no problems. We did look better, but it looks better for us because of how shambolic our season has been. Let's not forget that. Conor Gallagher comes out post-match, said that was a great improvement. Like, no wonder Didier Drogba comes out and say, I don't recognize my club anymore, because Conor Gallagher and people like them are saying that's a big improvement. I wish Conor just said post-match, do you know what? Okay, it was a somewhat of a better performance, but that's not Chelsea standard. It's still not Chelsea standard. And let's not forget, Real Madrid, I honestly, man, the first half, I think they were sleeping. They couldn't believe the lineup that we put out. So they were sleeping. They looked at the lineup. I'm sure Carlo Ancelotti was talking to the team and, what? This? We didn't prepare for these lads. This is not what we trained for.
If you yourself don't know what lineup you're going to play, how will the opponent know?
Exactly. So he had to wait till halftime for the boys to come back. Okay, now I know how to tackle this. Let's rethink. And then obviously second half
it was like a very energetic front line, isn't it? I guess Kai, Gallagher, Kante was playing basically right wing / cam / second striker. I saw him getting into the box trying to score goals.
This is the thing, Frank Lampard. It's pretty evident what he's done. When now you look back on it, you look at the starting 11. He's probably gone, who can run the most?
Younes, he said that post-match, by the way.
You're in.
Did he say that post-match? I didn't see what he said post-match.
Frank
Did he actually say that?
He said, I picked the team based on who was the most physical and who could give me the most effort on the night. That's how he picked the team.
There you are. It's
He said
obvious.
that.
What I heard him say before the game was, oh no, we've got, to justify the lineup, we've got impact players to come off the bench. I'm like, brother, we're 2-0 down. It's not 0-0. Like, the impact has to begin now. It's technically half time, mate. Like, impact now and then see what happens. And you won't be blamed if you do that because we're 2-0 down. Nah. So, yeah, it's funny, as Matisse said, the impact came on to investigate the murder.
Funnily enough, usually you get some gospel music. We didn't even get the UEFA anthem, the UEFA Champions League anthem at the start of the game. This is our last Champions League game till minimum next September. Minimum next September, 2024. And all I ask is for the Champions League anthem one last time, just so I can hear it, just so I can enjoy it for what it is, because we're not going to hear nothing next season. We're not even going to get the remix. And they saw the lineup. They were like, we're not playing it. Nope, we're not playing it. You guys don't deserve to hear it. Sorry, we're not playing it. Just listen to silence. Someone told me Heady 1 was playing. I don't know what was going on. No idea. But yeah, obviously, for the second goal. I mean, the first goal is just Rodrigo just walking it in, and it's just an absolute cluster of a mess from everyone. But
by the way, Chalobah, that's a bit mad from Chalobah.
Yeah,
he needed to just keep on running.
To dive in like that was
keep him on the outside. And this is it's common knowledge. Like for a player to know that just keep a player on the outside, for example. Just don't let him come in.
He did look rusty though, didn't he? Some of his passes were going astray, and
yeah.
He did look
and albeit we couldn't have played anyone else, I believe, in defense. Chilwell's out, Koulibaly's out. There's no one else that could possibly be there. So for him to be on the pitch, I get it. But it just goes to show. The entire quality right now is just dead.
Yeah, and then we've got the ownership who did a prep talk for this game, the pre-match motivational speech before this game. After Brighton, they said that this is obviously embarrassing and we need to fix up against Real Madrid. This is a chance to save our season, to make the fans proud, etc. What's you guys' take on, and anyone jump in on this, but what's you guys' take on like the ownership going into the change room after games and not just doing it once, but seems to be doing it often, regularly? That's what Kepa said. Kepa said this is a regular occurrence. They were in there again after the last game as well. So
that's unacceptable for me. I've never heard anything like that from any club, any owners, to be honest. I don't know what happens behind the scenes in other clubs, but if you're a top tier club, I've never heard that an owner frequently visits the dressing room, because I think the dressing room, the changing room is a sacred place that belongs to the manager and the players.
Yeah.
If you've appointed a man to do a job, trust him with that job. If he's not able to put across his message, I'm sure you won't be able to do the same. So at least the thing is, owners should be allowed to enter the dressing room only when the team has won something major. That's it. See, the thing is, in American sports, be it baseball or any other sport, the owner lifts the trophy at the end of the season if they win the championship.
Oh, really?
Unlike for
I think I've seen it in basketball as well. The owners are there always lifting the trophy.
In basketball, in American football, that they call the gridiron, whatever the sport is called over
NFL,
there. NFL, yes. And in baseball also, so the owners lift the trophies. So this explains why they are so hands-on with everything, why they want to be at the center of everything. Someone needs to tell them this is not how football works. What they're trying to do is assemble this squad of 50-60 players because they think it's a franchisee model that is being followed. What we do with basketball or baseball back in USA. And if we are to play the Super League in coming 2 to 3 seasons, then we are sorted. I don't know what is happening, because if we go down this path, we are doomed. We are doomed as it is. I mean, I was recording my review and I said that now the season is done. We have nothing to play for. Then I remembered, no, we have something to play for.
To make 40 points.
We still need to avoid relegation. So yeah, it can go worse. It's amazing. It's absolutely crazy how things can go worse from there. We have left so much scope to make things worse from here on. Owners need to take a step back, or they need to learn the European way of football. see, the thing is, the club being sold to them, Roman, we all heard that time when the club was on sale and all of this was going, that Roman is trying to do his utmost due diligence to find the right fit, that who will be the next guy who can take Chelsea or who can take care of the club the way he did. I am not against the intent of the owners. I don't think so. We can question the intent, but the way they are going about things is baffling.
Yeah.
It's not like they mean bad for the club or they don't want to do good things for the club. I think they tried their best to get in as many good players as possible, but the way they are handling things has backfired miserably. It's blown in their faces.
This is what I said in my previous stream. It's like this, right? Say, for instance, I love going to the Middle East, yeah, because I'm from a Muslim background. I love going and visiting, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia and all that. Like, I love it, right? But I live in Australia, so there's a different cultural settings. I can't be, seeing people what they do in the streets in Australia and think, yeah, let's go to Saudi or let's go to United Arab Emirates. Let's try and do that kind of stuff in the streets. Just what they. So you gotta understand the culture. You gotta understand the tradition.
Yeah.
And you need to respect that sometimes. So I get, as Drogbaba was saying, these American owners, they come from a particular background where they do all of this stuff in basketball, in NFL, in baseball, so on and so forth. But you now need to calm down, understand the culture of European football, understand the culture of how footballers operate, because this isn't a normal business. This is totally different. You need to appreciate that. You going consistently to the dressing room, and honestly, I don't know if, like, Younes shared a fantastic video of Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger apparently had it in his contract. You cannot enter the dressing room. Owners, that was one of his clauses. People actually have. So whoever the new manager will be, I'm sure they're gonna make sure everything is dotted, because I can't imagine how the new manager comes in and he's okay with whatever has happened this season. Arsene Wenger even goes on to say, I want to make sure who's coming in, who's leaving, I want to have a say. Managers should be having a say. How else you're going to build a team? How else is the playing group actually going to respect you? The reason why Arsenal this season specifically, and we could also see hints of it last season as well, the players are slowly starting to respect him, is because Arteta calls the shots over there. He calls the shots. So the players respect him. You stuff up, you're not going to be in the squad. Now you tell me who's calling the shots in regards to Mason Mount. Is it Lamps? Is it Potter? Was it Potter? You clearly know it's the owners and the board that's calling the shots on Mason Mount, right?
Yeah, clearly.
You know it.
Clearly.
It has to be.
That's why
Who's
I said the team must have been selected by Todd.
I said the same thing and people got angry with me.
Because Mason Mount can do exactly what Gallagher does and more. So if you want energy, you want intensity, we always hear about how he's the best trainer. We always hear about he's the one that puts in the effort, does the hard yards. Lampard's got a massive, clear relationship with him as well. So that's where I don't understand. That's why I don't understand how he hasn't really had one. He hasn't had one start since Lampard's come back, isn't it?
No.
So there must be some influence there.
Obvious.
There has to be some influence there.
You think Lampard wouldn't pick Mace? Mace is the first name on the list. Like, to pick the team, if he had to look at anyone, all right, Kante, Reece James, possibly. Mason Mount's there immediately. The fact he's not started is because Lampard's in as an interim. He's not here to influence the club in the long run. He's here to, I guess, to try and steer the ship and get some results in the short term whilst we're in the mud, and to try and pluck something out, which clearly he's not capable of. So I don't think he's really gonna, go against whatever the ownership are gonna try and tell him. And ultimately, this leads to the point that Miz has made about the whole dressing room thing, right? I do want to state there's a certain dynamic that can never be interrupted if you're going to have a stable dressing room. Is the owner coming in and coming in every single game? It's okay. Look, I said this on my video. For performance like we saw against Brighton, the owner's absolutely okay going in, as far as I'm concerned. For that Brighton result, as an isolated result, for the owner to come in and go, "What the was that?" You know what I mean? Like, what are you guys kidding? You know, fair enough. But to come in, as Kepa said, where it's every single game, nah, man. Arsene Wenger said it himself yesterday. You know, for an owner to come in, you're basically, for every single game, you're basically saying, you don't want me to do the job, or you do it then. You know, the dressing room, Drogbaba said it spot on. It is a sacred place. For anyone that understands a dressing room dynamic, and to be honest, this goes for any level. This goes from the highest at elite level all the way to pub league. The dressing room is a dressing room. Where team is a team. When you're in that dressing room, it's between you and the gaffer. That's it. And the owner comes in if they just want to say something very quickly and go. Yeah, maybe, but they're not going to interrupt. For them to say that they were there for an hour is ridiculous. If you've got something to say as an owner, because I've seen some people going, no, but they're the owners, they can do what they want. Right? Let them do what they want. Look, clearly, right? Two things. I'm not sure they understand the dynamic of a dressing room and how it truly should function. Owner coming in every single time brings instability, both to the players because they're predetermining that the owner's about to come and rock the dressing room, and for the manager because he's thinking, all right, well, I haven't got the upper hand in here. Someone's going to overrule me.
Exactly, and that's what it's undermining the manager, and that's why
exactly. This way you don't get respect. This way you don't get respect.
This is exactly. Now the players are going to look at the manager as an inferior.
So when people say, there was someone that said in the comments, if we had been winning games, would you still have the same energy? I find it weird regardless. Now, we're not winning games, so there's no point talking about if we were winning games, because if we were winning games, we wouldn't be having half the conversations we're having right now. But the fact of the
I don't think so. If we would be winning games, owners would be interfering that much.
Exactly. They wouldn't be in there because they're winning games. That's the entire point. They're in there because we're losing. But that is an undermining of the manager to say that the manager that I've appointed to handle the squad dynamics, to handle the dressing room, to handle the man management, to do the tactics, I'm going to undermine them and I'm going to step over them, come into the dressing room and do my own team talk. And now we feel like the lineups look influenced as well. So for me, it's wrong.
But ultimately, like, this is in regards to the dressing room. I'm not saying the owners can't go and talk to the players or even to the manager.
Yeah, 100%.
Do that at the training ground. Go to the training ground. Go tomorrow, not straight after a game or right before a game. Like,
when emotions are running high as well. Emotions are running high.
Exactly. So if you have something to say, cool. Wait till tomorrow. Go to Cobham, right? Go to the training ground. And when you look back, that's what Roman used to do, isn't it? And that's what I think many owners do. They don't go rocking into the dressing room. They go to the training ground. Yeah, no problem. After things have calmed down, things are looking a little bit more rational. You've got more time. You've got an office. Can I speak to you? Can I speak to you? You know, it's a little bit more structured.
It's more professional.
You know?
It's more professional.
Imagine you got battered by Real Madrid 4-0 on aggregate, and you're saying to the players, I've spent so much money on you.
Bro,
I've got you.
Can I say,
why aren't you playing?
For anyone who's played any sport, right? The changing room is one of the most emotional places in the game. It is where fights break out. It is where arguments start. It is where, if you've lost and it's a big loss, it's where blame gets put. It's where the cameras are off, and people that have any sort, because I keep saying it, players are not stupid. Players have their own brain, they have their own opinions, and they've played under many managers. This is where arguments start. This is where, you know, people are playing in a three-man defense and are looking, and they know that they're 2-0 down on aggregate, and they're seeing Gallagher and Kai Havertz up top. You think that the defenders don't have an opinion on that? This is where the opinions get dropped. This is where people, Mane and Sane, start punching each other up. This is not the place for an owner who is meant to be overseeing the entire club in a professional capacity, not a fan capacity. And that's what I've said in the preview as well, is that it feels very fan run. It feels very fan run. Very like if you were to load up FIFA career mode or Football Manager and you could strip the entire club and get out the scout and get out this and get out that and bring in 9 players in January. That's exactly what you would do on FIFA, because it doesn't matter. But you can't do that in real life. So this is why when people say, oh, just go and actually slam him, you know, go crazy on him, get angry with him, get him out. No. because he's doing exactly what I would probably do if I was on crack. If I was a fan, put into a position with loads of money, and I could bring in 9 players and I could sell 10 players, which he obviously didn't do, but that's what I would have done. And I could, get rid of Scott McTominay, the scout, get rid of everybody, bring in new. That's what you do when you go on Football Manager. You check everybody's ratings. If they don't rate highly on certain things in their position, you just sack them all and you just bring in everybody. And that's what you do. But you can't do that in real life.
Maybe
So
that's
same
what
thing
he's done.
You had to learn that.
Same thing Thiago Silva said, that we had to increase the size of the changing room because there are so many players that have come in. We can't keep repeating the same mistakes. We've gotten 8 players in the January window. There are bound to be some unhappy players, and he was sugarcoating it.
Exactly.
Imagine the situation.
And you know what's mad? I think this all stems from being so data driven from the very beginning. When you're too data driven, everything's data. You think everything is going according to the numbers, and you lose the human aspect. Hence why we changed everything, including the groundsman. Not even the groundsman survived. Do you know what I mean? I mean, probably the canteen lady didn't even survive. Why? Because everything's data driven. Do you know what I mean? Like, how quickly can the groundsman cut the grass? It's not good enough according to my metrics. We can do it in the space of 15 minutes, not 8 hours. That's probably how he's done it. And when you go to the footballing side and to the medical side, you can really go deep into metrics. And if they start looking at data too much, they start just thinking, chop this guy off, get that person, because they're just looking at numbers, but they've lost the human touch. To just change, Miz made this call very early on, and I rate it because at the very, very beginning of the ownership, when we started seeing people get chopped one by one, he was like, this is a bit too drastic, a little bit too quickly, changing everything so fast. Probably isn't a good idea. And it's not. It's really not. And now we're coming to see the proof in the pudding. It's really, really not. And maybe it'll stabilize later, but how long?
This is something that Kovacic said very early on. I can't remember who the journalist was, but they put an article out on Kovacic, and Kovacic, in one of the quotes that was said in that article, Kovacic was saying that one day you know who Chelsea is, the next day you come in and everyone is new. Like everyone is new. New manager, new, backroom staff, new medical staff, new groundsman. Everyone is new. We sit here and we bash players and why can't they? I think there needs to be some sort of thoughts placed on players. We have to have some sort of sympathy for them, that it hasn't been a healthy environment. It really hasn't. And I think it's slowly getting translated out with Thiago Silva post-match. I'm worried because Thiago Silva said some damning words, man. I'm worried what's going to happen to him next match. Like, is he going to take some sort of hit because he was so blatant and blunt about the situation? But I think the message we get from Thiago Silva is that if he's thinking this way, you best believe the entire squad is thinking this way. And now I know why Belle Silva does what she does in social media, because you can tell she sees her husband suffering. Yeah. So she translates that in social media.
Let me read out this super chat and we'll talk about Silva's interview and the breaking news and Drogba as well. Right, so Chelsea men's is demoralising before games, during and after games. Chelsea women, on the other hand, reflects an institution that is functional. Big up to Adrian. Pretty spot on at the moment, to be honest. And also, apparently, Luis Enrique are no longer among the favourites as Chelsea coach, according to Matt Law. Poch back in contention. So let me go through that tweet because that has been put out now. My guy Poch is still alive. Chelsea latest, Enrique not placed among leading candidates. And this boosts the Tottenham chances as well, the possible chances of him going there, because Tottenham were linked with Enrique yesterday, I think it was, yesterday morning. Chelsea cut down list ahead of new talks. Nagelsmann and Poch contacted. Chelsea's elimination means wage reductions for some. We knew that they had set up quite a few contracts to definitely drop off if we didn't make Champions League. That's now being confirmed. And I'm quite shocked to hear that Enrique's not gonna be on the the final kind of list. But I mean, what do you make of that, Miz? You were the first one to kind of mention Enrique. And
I'm not shocked actually, because I could see the last few days it was heavily favoured towards Nagelsmann. Like,
it has to be Nagelsmann, really, doesn't it? I mean, as much as I've been saying how good Poch would be, surely it's going to be Nagelsmann now if he's the one that.
And the fact that Enrique wanted the role so badly before the Real Madrid tie, and it was given to Frank Lampard, and he was disappointed. From there on, I just got the feeling you don't really fancy that guy. Look, I've always said it, and I've always maintained saying this. I'm not going to be crying to bed if it's Nagelsmann. I think Nagelsmann's a fantastic manager as well. But I have concerns. Now, can he command the respect? He may be tactically very, very good, which is fine. You can be tactically very, very good, but you got to get my buy-in. Like, you got to make me play the way you want me to play. And if I don't buy into that, what's the point of you being tactically good? I don't respect you. So can we get that? This is what I'm worried about, because you best believe we don't want to be. Look, I don't expect top 4 next season. I think we have to be realistic. If we can finish 6th, 5th, 6th, somewhere there, because we're potentially going to be around 12th, 13th, 14th this season. So to expect to be 4th next season, I think that's a bit far-fetched. But look, the new manager will have their work cut out. They'll have their work cut out. So look, it's not Luis Enrique. Whoop-de-doo. We'll move on. Hope the right manager gets the job, man.
It was always, I felt like Todd and Egbali that initially were very impressed with Enrique when he came over, but obviously Christopher Vell and the rest of the recruitment team seem to have decided on Nagelsmann as the best person to come in, because a couple of them have worked with him already at RB Leipzig. So it doesn't really surprise me. And we do want them to kind of take a step back and kind of let the footballing people they've appointed make the decisions. So that would mean a Nagelsmann appointment. Because it's very clear that Christopher Vell wants Nagelsmann. That's obvious, and that's who you've appointed. Now, if he gets that wrong, the blame will still fall on the owners, because you appointed Christopher Vell. You decided that the Red Bull model and the Brighton model was the model to go with to win. Correct. Because that's what it's all about. It's about winning. It's not about building a self-sustainable, making a profit every year football club where we can just, have nice turnovers, nice balance sheets, produce young players, play good football, and not win anything. The aim is to win, and that aim has to stay, because that's how you really do make the most money. When you win competitions, you automatically become a bigger club for it, and the rest will take care of itself. When you lose sight of winning and you start trying to be a top 4 team, or be a young team, or be a team that play good football, but there's no actual winning going on, first of all, this fan base will never put up with it over a long period of time. And second of all, you're not maximizing anything in doing that. You're not maximizing revenue. You're not maximizing marketing. You're not maximizing anything. But it will fall on their shoulders if this model that they're putting together is not a winning model. We'll have to see. We're not going to know until maybe a couple more years. But I think they have no choice but to go with the people that they've appointed. And if you look at a recruitment side of things, the one thing in my video that as much as I slightly lean towards Enrique, I feel like it's a safer option than an Nagelsmann, because there are some concerns maybe about him being overridden and the ownership doing what they're doing right now and kind of bypassing him, and him becoming a yes man, as some people feel in the chat. He is a winner. His win percentages say that at his previous clubs, and he is more molded in a Poch. I think you could say there's more similarities between Poch and Nagelsmann in terms of working at different level clubs and being able to prove themselves at a Hoffenheim, at a Leipzig, at a Southampton, at a Tottenham, and then going to 2 big clubs and showing it there as well. Whereas Enrique, the question mark was always with a lesser, group of players, and I've seen Vince defending this on the TL, but with a lesser quality of player at Celta Vigo and at Roma, he struggled. But some managers, they can't deal with lesser quality. They need top quality to perform what they want to perform. So it was always a very close debate. I don't have a problem with it with Nagelsmann, because like you said, he's a very talented coach. Younes, firstly to you, Nagelsmann, how do you, I don't know how you actually feel about, how do you feel about that kind of, if that was to happen at that appointment?
Overall, I'm not surprised. Overall, I'm not surprised. And even with the Poch stuff, I'm not so sure, because we're hearing what Matt Law's saying. It wasn't that long ago Poch was saying that there's been no talks between Chelsea and Poch anyway. like nothing. And now Matt Law's coming out and saying, "Oh no, there's contact and everything is all good." And I'm not quite sure. It just seems like Nagelsmann will be happening 100%, and I think that was always the plan. Now we look back, I think that's always been the plan, and we know that Nagelsmann didn't want to come in immediately. He wants to wait to the summer, so we're gonna have to wait to the summer. But I think it's pretty much nailed on, as you've said. With Nagelsmann, I share the same sentiment as Miz. I think he's a good manager. I think he's done well at the clubs that he's been at, and he's proven that. His age. That's the only thing that gets me a little bit. If we had Nagelsmann say at like 49 years old, I'd be more comfortable. But the one benefit we have is that we've got a very young squad, so they're going to be looking up to him anyway. I just hope he commands that respect. I just really do. I hope he does. I hope he's not someone that's going to just, go along with the flow and be like, yeah, okay, no problem. I really hope he has his own way. He imposes himself. He knows how to get himself across, and he has personality. If he has that, then I don't doubt what he can do tactically. I don't doubt his system, what he can bring in terms of a footballing aspect. We just need, this team is desperate for some sort of authority, someone that's going to impose himself, someone that has a personality, and someone that's going to get respect. And I hope he has that.
Why do people think he's a yes man, Bubba? Is it because of the fact that he fits with the recruitment team, and it's kind of within the model that we're trying to put together, and it's not somebody that's going to outright disagree and go against some of the things that have already been put in place? What do you think it is? I don't know.
But isn't that a bad thing? If you're looking for a yes man, and if you've set up some framework or some kind of a process in place, and you have to get in a manager who adhere to those things.
But is it also a bad thing to have a manager that comes in and disagrees with what you set up, and therefore is pulling in the opposite direction? And you've got your recruitment team, your manager, and your ownership pulling in 3 different directions as well.
I don't think so. It matters in either case, unless a manager comes in and he knows what he's doing and what is required to make a club successful. If he agrees with the owners or disagrees, it does not matter. See, if my point from day one is you've gotten so many players, okay, you've tried to set up a team which any manager would be able to, take forward, but there would be some players which won't fit. Let's say if Enrique is there would be some players which won't fit in his system. If Nagelsmann is there would be some players which won't fit in his system. So if owners were to interfere and say, no, we've gotten Mudrik for 80 million, 90 million, you have to play this player. We've gotten Y player, we've got an X player, you have to play these players. Then that is where the problem begins, in my opinion. So I think we need a manager who calls spade a spade and tells the owners, okay, this is the squad that I want. Maybe the 3 players that you've signed in January, they don't feature in my plans. Maybe send them on loan, whatever. Develop them more. Get me 3 more players, and then we'll be on our way. And that would be the case with any top manager. Because if we get a manager who tries to do what these owners are trying to do, then you're in for trouble. Then
you're gonna fail.
Yeah, you're gonna fail. So it does not matter if you get a manager who is aligned with the owners or who disagrees with them. We need to get a manager who thinks that his ideas and his way of working and his planning can get us to that next level. As simple as that. I don't care if it's Enrique or Poch or Nagelsmann. And he needs to get that message across to owners that these players I don't need, these players I need. That's it.
This is such an important point, actually, Baba, you brought up. And I want to sort of make a comparison to Man City and Liverpool, for instance. Who do you think is making the shots at City? Who calls? Who stays? Who goes?
See, I think
who made the call about João Cancelo, for instance?
But I don't think so. City is a fair example to make because they have the best manager right now. So
I'm just saying in general, like what your point.
Top managers will always a club with top managers will always have the manager at the helm.
Exactly. So why is it different for us? Why should it be different for us? That's my question. Do you know what I mean?
Because owners are shit scared right now. We've already taken such a bold decision. Don't want to get it wrong again. Margin of error is zero now.
Imagine telling Klopp, say Klopp goes, okay, we need to do a rebuild next season. We need to get X amount of midfielders in. We're looking at this, and this. Imagine Klopp goes, okay, I want this particular player. And the owner goes, sorry, that doesn't really fit in with how we want to move. I'm going to get you someone else.
But can I say that is actually happening at Liverpool?
I know, with Jude Bellingham. Yeah,
with Jude Bellingham. And Klopp, to my surprise, is actually more entrenched in the model of FSG than I expected him to be. With someone with so much power and so much hold and stock in the club because of the achievements.
Jude Bellingham's situation is more of a financial situation.
That's I was going to say. It's more about the finance.
It's not about owners like a player or not. It's not like
Correct.
Owners don't like Jude Bellingham and they like a different player.
Bang on.
It's not that. It's just that they don't want to spend in the region of 140, 140,
Well, they can't.
whatever.
They can't.
They can't afford to do that.
I think they actually could afford it, but they're trying to be tight and they're trying to be stingy about it. They make a lot of money, but that's a different conversation.
But it's not them not liking Jude Bellingham.
Neglecting the midfield. Okay. Well, to be fair, Klopp did say last year that he didn't even need a midfielder, so he can't really get too angry about it anyway. Let's go through these super chats before we pin. I want to bring this up as well. This is another really important point. Barring the age, Nagelsmann, a lot of people are counteracting this age thing. Obviously, Jose Mourinho is very young. When he turned up and rocked up at Chelsea, I'm not sure exactly what age he was. Younes, I know you're probably
late 30s, early 40s.
I know Younes probably has those times rubber stamped in his head.
Right. I'm sure he's got a Jose tattoo somewhere.
Jose is 63 right now, so 19
years
so
I'm guessing he was early 40s.
20.
Must have been
44 he was.
Nagelsmann's 35. How old was Pep at Barcelona? And that was another example as well.
Late 40s, 41, 42.
Yeah, so he's
early 40s.
Yeah, so he's just older, just a little bit older than the playing group.
Exactly. It's older than what you would expect players to retire at. And now players are actually lasting longer than they did back then. Before, in those times, 32, 33 years old was retirement. Goodbye. You know, if you reached 34, if you reached 35, it was a big deal. Yeah. And you guys, I'm sure, like Miz, you'd remember as well. Like if you had players that hit 35, 36 was a miracle. Like it never happened. Now we're getting players hitting 40, man. We're getting players hitting 38 and all that. And it's fun.
Is 41, I guess. Ibrahimovic.
Ibrahimovic. Yeah. So that's where this whole argument comes in, because not to doubt Nagelsmann and the control that he could have, right, and the impact, and if as long as he has a relationship with players, and they all trust him, then fair. It's always a risk, right, and it's the risk of having someone in the team that's older than the manager. That's where, and right now, this is where I'm saying, I go back to my point with Chelsea. We're lucky we have a young squad, because I can't think of anyone bar Thiago Silva who probably does reach that. If Thiago Silva was still here, he'd be older than Nagelsmann.
Do you know what worries me about Nagelsmann? I'm going to keep it a buck. Lukaku and Nagelsmann is more unpredictable. I knew with Enrique that he would never use Lukaku in his life. He would never. So that was my biggest fear. That is one of my biggest fears going into this summer window, is Lukaku actually coming back and being in this squad, especially surrounded with young, impressionable talents like Mudryk and, do you know what I mean? Nagelsmann might use him, for all I know. He might play a two-striker.
And if he gets to score goals, I have no problem whatsoever. See, that is my point. If he wants to use Lukaku, and if he can get the best out of that player, let him do that.
No, fuck that.
and you know what? The more
whatever helps
you
the
actually,
club.
the more you actually deep it, I think Lukaku, there is no other home for him. He is coming back to Chelsea, because Inter Milan, apparently they've already said.
No, I think that's a pressure tactic to get that fee down from Chelsea.
Do you reckon they'll keep him? I don't see any reason for that. Like, they don't really utilize him. He comes off the bench. Financially, they're stuck a little bit. So
preseason will, as Matisse has said, this is going to be the worst preseason in the history of preseasons for any club. So a lot would depend on that. what players are
Nagelsmann
in what
also
shape.
apparently still needs convincing of the project as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how this all goes down. But yeah, this to finish off this, what was saying that Nagelsmann's path is similar to Tuchel's. Tuchel got controversially sacked by PSG and Nagelsmann with Bayern. Let's see, randomly came across your channel and have been subscribed since. I feel you guys take a long since y'all clearly need a proper finisher. Alonso would have scored that goal. Cucurella would have.
Yes.
Yeah, he would have.
Alonso would have ripped the net apart.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not sure what Rodrigo would have done to him going the other way, but he would have scored that. Remember, I called Nagelsmann being a front runner weeks ago. Sound like an ITK right now. As soon as he was sacked from Bayern on your channel, big up, bro. I mean, listen, Christopher Vell's there, Nagelsmann's there. It makes sense. Matt Law has got so many things wrong.
Yeah, that is what I was about to say. Everyone is running their own agenda because see, there is no transfer window for another 2 months. In June, the window opens. So till then, they have to, keep the things running. So they'll come up with whatever they can.
But I think it's safe to say Nagelsmann's got a lot of mates in our board. So
of course.
I get this, and I don't I don't read too much into Luis Enrique impressed, Nagelsmann impressed, Poch will impress. Of course, they'll impress. They are top coaches. You got impressed by Lampard. Let him.
You got impressed by his last 17 matches.
That is true,
I mean, Luis Enrique impressed in his initial talks. Nagelsmann is impressing the owners. I don't get this. Of course, they'll impress you. You don't know anything about football. They know more than you.
It could be worse, Like Todd could be on Twitter running polls like Elon Musk does. Like, what do we do next? Do we keep Lukaku? Do we not? And then just running it off polls. He could be taking the piss, really. So some players will have wage cuts of up to 30%. Kepa, Kai Havertz, Kova, Kante, Ziyech, Pulisic will keep their full wages if they stay. That's the key thing to remember here.
Wow.
Some players,
they won't want to go.
Some players will keep their full wage because they have not renegotiated any contract under this ownership. And that causes problems in the dressing room as well, because a lot of the players where their wages will be kept are either not contributing or they're not very good. So that is another problem in the dressing room when you start to look at, the best players and their wages are being cut. Why? I'm one of the best players. Kepa feels like he's had a great season, but his wage is not going to be cut. So maybe that's true. And then some players, they're gonna have their full wage. They're gonna have their full wage. So it is a madness.
What's mad is the players that we've actually signed, or the ones that have come in, right, or the ones that have negotiated new contracts, the ones that are on large contracts as well. We're talking like 8 years. This was a point that Wenger made yesterday as well. When Wenger said, Wenger used the word. He used the word amortize. He used it. He was like, it's a good thing for FFP if you're going to amortize, but if you have players on that contract, then you're going to have to stick to that contract, and they're going to be here whether they're happy or unhappy. So now you put in this, and if you're going to get them having their wages cut by 30%. And some players not getting their wages cut by 30%, and they're on long deals for like 8 years, they're going to be fuming, man. They're going to be fuming. It's just, it doesn't help.
But look at the bright side, Younes. You've got players on these 8-9 years contract. You've got them on a prison sentence. So even if you get relegated, they've got nowhere to go. They will have to play with you in the championship. Imagine Chelsea getting 135 points out of a possible 138 next season. Enzo smashing in from halfway line.
That's mad.
Oh God.
So that's the bright side that I look at these long contracts. That's the only bright side. These players have got nowhere to go. Even if we get relegated, we'll have a banger of a team and we'll get 130 points.
Do you know what? I think the player. I don't know exactly how many players that they're going to take to the wage cut because of not being in Europe. Don't be surprised if some of these players call up their agent and just go, I ain't taking no wage cut. Find me somewhere where I can get my full wages. So it's going to be huge summer, man. It really is. And I feel sorry for the new manager because we keep thinking, all the fans that keep saying, but the new manager will get, it's a good time to come in the preseason. They're going to have everything. It's a terrible time.
Terrible time to come in.
This is why I wanted the new guy to come in now and just sort everything out so that as soon as the window opens, yep, get this gone. Now the new manager is going to come in and like, well, I just stepped foot. I'll start with Lukaku. I want to see how he plays. Do you know what I mean?
I really don't want them to. You know, every single time we get someone new in, it's a clean slate. Oh, when I heard Lampard saying it was going to be a clean slate, that's when I knew. I was like, oh, Jesus. We don't have time for this clean slate nonsense. I need you to know before you even come through the door, who do you want, who do you not? When Pep came through the door at Man City, he wasn't saying Joe Hart's going to get a clean slate. He said, you know what? Leave. Because you're not, I just know you're not the guy. You haven't got the capacity to do what I need you to do. So just leave. I need somebody who knows exactly what they want. I need somebody. You know what this clean slate thing does? When you don't know exactly what you want to implement, or your management style is more catered to the squad than it is your own philosophy, which is not what Pep does, not what Enrique does, not what some of these managers do. But then obviously maybe your Tuchels and some managers do cater to more what they're working with and try and get they're a bit more like they'll work with what they've got and they'll adjust their tactics accordingly. When you do that though, you go for a clean slate. But then if you don't know what you're doing as well, and you're maybe a Lampard who wants to, give everyone a clean slate, and that tells me as well, you're not sure exactly what you're going to implement. Because if you knew what you was going to implement, you wouldn't give everybody a clean slate, because there's certain players that can't do what you need them to do. So they're just not even in the running. That's what that tells me. And that worries me. We can't do that in preseason. If somebody comes in here in preseason and says they want to do a clean slate, we'll be here forever because we've got too many players. By the time they go through all the players, it'll be August.
Thanks.
And then you're going to decide with a week left in the transfer window. I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want him. And then you know what happens next. If we don't get our business done early and we don't get these sales moving quickly, the season's going to already get off to a bad start before we've even, I've already ruled out, for me, like, obviously we're not winning the league. As much as people say, oh, we're out of Europe, we've got one game a week, we're not winning the league. We have got a very, very messy summer ahead of us. Very messy. That preseason is going to be a mess. And it's up to the board and the ownership and the manager to come together, and they need to agree who are we keeping, who are we not, and get those players that you're not keeping out of this football club as soon as possible. And it's going to take a lot of sacrifice, because a lot of them are on big wages that a lot of European clubs don't want to pay. And you're going to maybe want a certain amount of money back based on how long they've got left on their contract, whatever it is, to break even on the player if you've had to purchase them. And that's why so many academy players are being linked with moves, because you didn't pay anything, so it's straight profit. You don't have to work out the calculation of how much you paid, how much the contract's been amortized. It's just straight profit. Ian Maatson is straight profit. Gallagher, straight profit. Loftus-Cheek, straight profit. A lot of academy players are going to get sold, I think.
Bro, this is why I'm saying that this new managerial appointment needs to be done ASAP. And I'm not saying for him to come and manage Brentford.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to manage for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But we need to make sure that you're nailed down to come in on June 1st. That way, even away from the club, you can look from the outside, you can plan, you can analyze, you can get yourself ready, you can have an idea, you can structure things, you can get everything in place. You can communicate with the owners, you can communicate with the club, you can get things set. So then when I come in on June 1st, right, we know exactly what we're doing, and we've already taken courses of action. Even before coming on June 1st, things can be done at the club, preparing for the arrival of the new manager. It means certain players that the club's already been communicated to by the new manager will already, not be playing as much, or, certain players will already be getting ready to be sold, getting ready to be listed. They'll be communicated to, get yourself, everything will be put in place. Do you know what I mean? We're not doing that.
Players they need to know whether they're going to be Chelsea players next season or not.
This is the thing. Yeah,
it's all well and good me saying I don't. Yeah, it's all well and good at us saying, oh, we don't want this player, but we're not in charge. We need to know. These players need to know if their future is here next season or it's not. And until we appoint somebody publicly, because this is what Man City did with Pep. They had him coming in regardless. Everybody knew Pep's coming in at the end of the season. Same with Manchester United, Ten Hag. Everybody, you need to know if you're in this situation, especially our situation is 10 times worse than those clubs. Need to know who's coming in as soon as possible. So this little process that they're doing, the interviewing, I want it wrapped up. And as long as it's a name that should command respect and has achieved things and does have the potential to be an elite manager, then we roll with it. because it's not Potter and it's not Lampard. So it's already a step in the right direction in terms of the magnitude of the appointment. Whether they actually garner the respect is all dependent on results. If you start off winning games and you start off strong and the tactics are implemented and you got a squad that you like and there's no players in there that are going up against you, then anything can happen. Young, old, it doesn't matter. In your 60s, in your 30s, in your 50s, 40s, it all depends on winning games from the get-go. But the best chance we have of winning games from the get-go is by actually having a good preseason and having a normal size squad for once. So that's what it all depends on. Bubba, what did you make of Silva's interview? Everybody, I think, here has seen Silva's interview now. He kind of just said it how it was, didn't he?
I think he is sugarcoating things. Things are very bad internally, I think. The first step has been made. We all know it was a wrong step. We had to increase the size of the changing room. They are bound to be unhappy players. So never have seen any Chelsea player come out and say the things for what they are and yet sugarcoat them. And that has happened after a long time. So it shows you how the situation is behind the scenes. And yeah, I mean, we all know what has gone down. Where did it go all wrong? I don't think so. It takes all you can eat every time to analyze what has gone wrong. I think a blind man can see what has gone wrong with Chelsea. So yeah, it's bad. It's really bad, and it was really I see. It was really sad to see Thiago Silva, say it could be my last Champions League game ever, and all of those things. So you don't feel nice after listening to those things, and in the manner in which Thiago Silva, who's given us everything, even in his twilight years, he was amongst our best players in the last 3 seasons. This season, someone was asking who's the player of our season. I think if you had to give it to someone, it has to be Thiago Silva for me, because if it hadn't been for him, we would have been 16th or 17th right now in the league. He saved us so many times this season. So he cares about the club. What I have made out of that interview, he cares about the club. He wants the things to set right, and the owners need to change their ways. I think he's categorically stated that the approach needs to change. We need to stop buying players, and we need to get a system in place. So yeah,
we do. Let me go through some of these super chats, and we'll move to. I mean, we've got Brentford next week, but luckily I can say everybody's got a great weekend ahead of them because we don't play. So, there's no stress. Not surprised if our new owners are gone in 5 years. I don't think they're even legally allowed to go anywhere. So don't go anywhere. What are your final predictions of the Chelsea league position this season? I think it will be 14th. Younes,
table
prediction. I mean, we're currently 11th. Crystal Palace, Wolves, Bournemouth are catching us quickly as attention's turned back to trying to survive. Relegation.
Drive to survive.
Yeah, I say. Yeah, I'm going to say 14th as well. Yeah, because the
lowest I had us was 15th if West Ham won their game in hand, but that was like the worst possible. That was like the worst possible scenario. I do think we're going to finish around 13th, 14th, maybe. I think 13th is a realistic prediction, just based on the games you have left.
It's exactly that.
Do you think we're going to win another game this season?
I actually think we might not.
I don't think so either.
Maybe
Forest at home.
Maybe Forest. Maybe. But Forest are in the midst of it as well. Forest are literally 18th, fighting. So that's not going to be easy. That's not going to be easy as many people think, because at that point we might not have any fans in the stadium at that point.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we have been just an expensive Nottingham Forest this season.
The fans, right? The fans up until now they've had something to think about with Real Madrid. The Real Madrid game's done now. So it's like how the fans interpretate these next fixtures will be based upon, I think, young players maybe be given an opportunity. Lewis Halls, Carney Chukwuemeka. These guys might be able to.
What happened to Chukwuemeka?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Did we kidnap him and take him? I don't know where we put him. maybe if these guys are given starts, that might get the crowd up, you know. But is there even going to be a crowd? It's a good question. If people start selling off their tickets and say the stadium's half empty, or the stadium's, you know, three quarters, you can see gaps in the seats. Yeah, it's blatant now that we ain't selling out and we're struggling here. I mean, our home form is already horrendous. That's only gonna help the opposition even more, because their away fans are gonna be buzzing, going crazy, and we're playing like it's COVID times. So,
bro, the only thing, and this will be an indicator. If you start seeing tickets go on general sale, then you know that the club are desperate. That means there's no one going for these tickets. And if they're on general sale, then maybe you might get some friends and go, oh, yeah, this is an opportunity to just have a day out and go to the bridge. But I think there's two groups of fans now, yeah? I think there's the fans that are looking at this and going, okay, season's dead, it's over, that's it. We've got nothing to play for, it's finished, right? And then there's another group that agree, but are going, it's done, but it's technically not done because this can get worse. So we've got to just maybe even think about just doing what we've got to do to just salvage some face and not end up, as we've been discussing, 14th, 15th, 16th, who knows? Because mathematically, right now, anything's still possible. So, yeah, I think there's only those left, which is just dire in terms of the club.
What about you, Miz? What's your prediction for where we could end up?
I was sort of thinking 13th, 14th as well. I also agree. We're not going to win anymore. I do pray and I hope we can at least get some point out of Arsenal. Like, lose everything. If you can just get a point from Arsenal at least, that way we can put a dent on their title winning aspirations. I think that would be fantastic to see.
Yeah. May as well be the villain.
May as well be the villain, somewhat. City fans will appreciate that as well.
Do you think that playing one game a week might give us a chance to pull off some surprises with results? Maybe.
Why?
I don't know. Just fishing.
And then this is something I want to ask the live chat as well. They keep telling me one game a week will help get Chelsea back. Tell me why. Why is one game a week actually going to help someone to be better? Tell me. I'm just lost. I mean, are they going to be doing things differently because it's one game a week? Is the training going to be different? Is it recovery? We have 35 people in our squad. I don't think recovery should be an issue.
More time to think about the losses and reflect.
Okay. More time to be depressed. Doesn't mean that Frank Lampard can. I think Frank actually said this post-match as well. He said,
going to say,
with one game a week, he's going to be able to tactically
do some work now.
Yeah,
I just find that funny.
You don't believe him?
More than you believe, I don't believe him.
More than you can't believe, guys.
I mean, let's see. What I mean, it's detrimental for. I'm actually interested about what Frank's career now happens. Like, I think he needs to be more interested about getting wins, not just for Chelsea Football Club, but for his own career.
Yeah, because when the people are putting up his stat line, it's not very good. It's not very good.
Bro, it's X's everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
X. Can you imagine when Frank's doing the presentation to his new job?
Oh, mate.
There's no PowerPoint. This
Used to be in a
Excel spreadsheets have destroyed. I don't have any PowerPoints.
He's going to rock up with nothing but fitness metrics. My players can run 20 kilometers each game. Trust me, they're machines. Put me in charge. I'll turn them into monsters. That's all he's got. What's mad is, like, to be fair, we were criticizing how it was under Potter. His win percentage was shocking. We were talking about how he was going below Ian Porterfield and going back to the mid-90s, and he was really bad. Mate, Lampard might actually leave the club with 0%.
That's bad.
He actually needs to get a win. He needs to get a win. Can you imagine not
get a draw
winning
first?
Single
baby steps?
He's lost every single game.
We've conceded 7 and lost 1. I mean,
And emphatically as well. Emphatically, those losses have been emphatic. It's not like we have given a fight in any of those games.
And the one goal he's been able to muster was a
deflection.
fortuitous one.
Deflection.
Yeah,
Like God felt sorry in the month of Ramadan.
Your
God said,
favorite
"Look, it's the month of
your
giving."
favorite player was on the score sheet, Miss. For that,
Kante made a dua. Kante prayed and God answered.
Kante, in the time of iftar, he said, "Ya Allah, one goal for the Frankie, please. One goal." And it came through a deflection. But now, look, I think over the next few weeks, I predict, and I completely agree with what Younes said in his video post match. I think it's gonna get toxic now. I really do. I just get the feeling we may start hearing players say a few more things now that they've seen Thiago Silva say it. They may be like, maybe I'll say a few things. Maybe
you're telling me I'm not going to get any vibes from, one thing I was hoping for. One thing I was hoping for yesterday, and this is why I was so angry with the lineup. If we're going to lose games, I'm not even asking for wins now. I'm just asking, can we have some fun? Can we have some goals? If we lose 4-3, cool. If we lose 4-3, it is what it is. Can we have some fun? That is literally all I want. People told me we're going to get vibes. Vibes. Minimum, we should be getting those vibes. I should be getting 4-3 defeats. I should be talking about, do you know what? We lost, but look at that goal that we scored. Great goal. That's how low the standards are. Yes, I know. You're probably gasping for air in the chat right now, but this is what it is. I need some fun. You know, when Felix nutmegged that play, I was so happy. But then I was so angry because he didn't play the pass to Kai.
But maybe he saw Kai and he thought, should I really? He's probably not going to shoot. He's going to try and dink. He don't have a left foot, even though he's a left footer.
It's mad.
So he thought maybe I'll take it myself.
But Bubba, what's your prediction before we come to a close? What's your assessment of how this season could end?
My prediction is that I would be very happy when the season ends. What difference does it make if we finish 13th, 14th, 15th? Yeah, same as you guys, 13th, 14th. Maybe 15th doesn't make a difference for me. I won't be happy if we finish 13th, if we not finish 15th.
As long as it's not 18th.
As long as it's not 18th. And like people have been telling me that I've been too negative, too pessimistic in these 2-3 weeks. Mudrik was really nice in the Brighton game. The first half of yesterday's game was really good. If you start to pluck out these small positives in these emphatic losses, it is when you start becoming a small club.
I was just going to say.
Facts.
Jose warned us about this, man.
Yeah. Jose has said this multiple times.
Yeah.
Winning is the most important. Yeah. If you do this, I'm also.
It's when you stop being a big club. You start acting like a mid-table club.
Yeah. This is why I was annoyed when I saw Gallagher post-match saying that was a vast improvement. Yeah. Like, brother, less talk and walk away. Like, just when you see the press coming, run the other way. Run away from it.
Just leave. Just walk.
Unless you answer like Thiago Silva does.
Yeah, exactly.
No other problem with
and
what
say
Thiago
how
said.
it is. Facts.
Correct.
If you're not going to, because I get it for players, it's a difficult situation. They don't know how to deal with it. It's the worst run in our recent history. It's you work for the club, you're employed by the club, you need to speak in a certain way. If you do not know how to handle this situation, just request not to say anything, because I don't want to see any players ganged up on and hated because of the words that are coming out their mouths. Because let's be real, what they're saying into the camera and what they're saying behind closed doors is two completely different things. There's no way anybody is truly believing that this is good enough, or that we're improving, or that this is horrendous. But if you can't say it the way that it needs to be said, or you don't feel like your standing is strong enough in the club, you're not a Silva, you're a Gallagher, then just don't say anything. Just refuse to speak to the press. I'm sure. Just say, listen, I can't speak to the press right now. I can't. I'm too distraught.
No comment.
I can't speak. Because for me, it's I refuse to see players taking many positives from this. Even the context of Kepa being asked about his performance this season, and his kind of recovery from being a second choice goalkeeper, and how he think, it's been a good season for Kepa. Cool, but it's a team sport. It's not a good season for anyone. That's how I see it. You're all in this together. You're all one unit. If we're 11th and we're breaking records and we're worse than we were in the mid-90s, and we've gone through all these managers and it's not a good season for anyone. You're all culpable for this. You don't sit there when you're playing any sport, team sport. You don't sit there and say, "Oh, we got relegated, but I had a great season." I had a great season. No, you didn't. You're part of it. You're in it. So that's why I think Player of the Year should be cancelled, to be honest. I don't think there should be a Player of the Year. I feel sorry for Silva. I feel sorry for some people, but that's just how it is. You play for this team. Nobody plays alone, unfortunately. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this mess. Frank has been coaching 1 game a week since the start of the season and needs still time. Okay.
True talk. Everton were 1 game a week.
Yeah. Listen, we spoke about Mount earlier on in the show. You may have missed it. We're gonna wrap up because it's just. I mean, all you cannot eat Chelsea. 2nd episode running now. no wins. Absolutely starving for a win. Just starving for a point. All I want is 40 points. I've been asking for it for 2 months. It's a struggle.
Outrageous.
We may not get there, Matisse.
I
hope with the Arsenal game we can get to 40.
Yeah, the Arsenal game is.
I think we'll get a point at the Emirates.
No.
I mean, we won't, but I'm hoping. I'm making a dua in the month of Ramadan.
Bowie made some mistakes, but I still believe in him for the long term. Too many fans stating that he's the worst owner when barely a year passed. There's still room for it. There's still time to improve. I agree with you. He's made mistakes. It's time to learn from those mistakes and make the correct decisions now. You've had your time to make a couple of clusterfucks. That's how I see it. Frank has, we've read this one already. All right, Younes, let them know where to go. It's an absolute pleasure as always, bro. Another week.
Another day, another L. Man. Look, to sum up, I think we can relay what Drogba said yesterday. We don't recognize this club right now at all. And I completely agree with him. And how far down is it still going to go? This is the thing. All these games that we still got to play. Right now, you know what's mad? I genuinely think that we're going to get players that are going to... We're going to start hearing more about players and things that are happening internally. But the fans, I think, are going to go quiet. You know that it's been loud, it's been toxic, it's been a little bit like mad. I just think now that everyone's just going to be dead inside.
Yeah.
And that can be worse. That can be worse. Yeah, we'll see what happens. To catch everything that I've got to say and leading up into these games where all we can do is pray. Younes talks football, and I'll be giving my thoughts. As we were meant to be playing Man United, but that's been postponed.
Yeah.
Why is that, by the way? Because
they have FA Cup.
Yeah. Oh, FA Cup. Oh,
FA
yeah,
Cup
they're still playing in another competition. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, Man United, good luck. Okay. So we're looking forward to Brentford. I guess we'll just keep up on the latest and see what happens.
I mean, thankfully, nobody will be watching the Brentford game because the same day as the Arsenal City game. Everybody's gonna be watching that. So if we lose, no one will notice.
Are they at the same time?
7:45 our kickoff, 8 o'clock their kickoff. No one will notice.
Oh,
wow.
Why'd they do that to us?
Yeah, what?
I want to watch City Arsenal.
I'm watching both. I'm putting us on the small screen. I'm watching the other game on the big screen.
Arsenal and City should have been on a separate time slot, right? Like on its own.
Well, I mean, no one wants to watch us face off Brentford, isn't it? Mid-table clash. So they just. It's not like as if we're anything to be watching right now. They just put us in mid-table game up against the Juggernauts.
So sad, bro.
Sad. That's what they do. We're lucky. We're lucky. We got our own slot, to be honest.
We're lucky we're on TV.
We're lucky we're not.
We're lucky we're gonna have a game.
Yeah, we're lucky we're even playing. Miz, let them know where to find you. Pleasure, bro.
The other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, 22,000 is only about 200 subscribers away. So subscribe. two pieces of content daily. So tune in.
There you are. Baba, let them know where to find you, bro. Pleasure as always. Great show.
Yeah, man. Good therapy session again. It feels good to let it all out. Drogbaba again. YouTube, Instagram, everywhere you can find me with the same name. And yeah, not much to talk about. I don't like talking about Chelsea these days, but I have to. So yeah, you can find my views over there. So yeah, we'll see you there.
There you go, guys. Make sure you subscribe to everyone's channels. Links are in the description. I saw everybody begging for Rantman in the chat. It was just a one time. All right, we're not gonna have it every
He's
week.
a very difficult man to get.
We don't have the energy.
Not every week. Okay, it's like sweets. You have to enjoy it when you get it. Do you know what I mean? It's not gonna be every week. You're 5 a day. You know, we need to have a therapy session today. We need to have a nice, calm therapy session today. And that's
angry calm man.
Yeah. And that's how it is. Usually that's the panel. But listen, for me, I'll be back later on for Inter Milan, Benfica, and Bayern Munich City watch along, just to watch some good football. I'm pretty sure that tie is pretty much dead, but we're going to cover it regardless. And obviously tomorrow, Man United versus Sevilla, 2-2 at the moment as well. And then we'll rock into. There's no preview because we don't play, so it's going to be fun. We're just going to be watching other teams, and covering the topics in the news. Hopefully, announcement comes over the weekend.
By the way, just a quick shout out to Fikayo Tomori, AC Milan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Semi-finals, Champions League.
Yeah, and Giroud. Big up Giroud as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lukaku Inter.
No big up there.
No big up for you, sir. Actually, do you know what?
Thumbs down.
If it led to an Inter Milan move, then by all means, absolutely fire them to a Champions League win if it gives them the money to pay for you. But if not, then not too bothered.
You know what's mad? We're actually, it looks like we're going to get an AC versus Inter Champions League semi-final. 2 legs in San Siro. That's actually nuts.
Yeah, it's good.
I would love to go to that game and vlog it, but we're not going to be able to get tickets. We don't have the capacity. There's no way I'm going to be able to get tickets for that.
How far is the trip from London to Milan?
Oh, it's not about the distance. It's just the fact that you would never get the ticket because it's going to
Champions League.
It's going to sell out, and they both play in that stadium. It's going to sell out in seconds.
Oh, how they do when they both play in the same stadium? Like how does
one two legs at the same ground?
Yeah,
no. As in the stadium, how many Inter fans?
Half and half.
Half and half. Yeah.
Wow. Oh no, actually,
or maybe
he's got a point. Maybe the home team gets the. Yeah, and then the away team gets the.
But it's the same place.
Maybe, but it's the same place. Yeah.
And you're probably going to get loads of Inter Milan fans that have signed up to the AC Milan website or whatever and going that way. Yeah, it's going to be carnage. Yeah, because they're both the same city. Like, why would you not? If same stadium, you would just probably be mixed. No one's going to want to miss the game. They're not going to wait for the home leg to try and get tickets. They'll probably just dress in all black and go in the home section.
Well, I hope Benfica wins, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, they're 2-0 down. They can give it their best shot. We'll see what happens tonight. But
it's the perfect goodbye to the San Siro as well.
Yeah,
because that's going to get demolished. I don't think you're going to get any other bigger occasion than this.
Oh, is it? When is it being demolished? When is it demolished?
It's 2025, I think.
Okay, so this is probably as big as it gets until then.
Cathedral, they would be moving to the cathedral.
Oh no, 2024. Next year they start demolishing.
Oh Jesus!
So it's the perfect way to say goodbye to an iconic stadium like that, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. That's insane. Well, guys, make sure you subscribe, smash up the likes. Road to 50k continues. And
someone said Chelsea are demolished. Oh man, end the stream.
End the stream, Dave. Chelsea are demolished.
Dave, end the stream. End the stream, Dave.